Alright everyone, I'm giving my auto-scripter noise a second shot. I'm up against Blue Sun, which is a dangerous matchup. Thankfully I packed my Plascretes, two of them, so I should be fine as long as I can draw them. My opening hand is as such. I decided to keep this hand even though it doesn't have ESOPs, it doesn't have wildside, it doesn't have any cash, because cash as in money, because firstly I have a Shahrazad. With that in my opening hand, it means that I can start hosting various viruses on it, so it gives me more incentive to play my viruses, mill more cards, and hopefully get more agendas early on. Then we have the double inject, which is pretty good because I can power draw from my wildside and ESOP pawn shop and the Grimoire, very very crucial. And because of that, the early deja vu is a huge help. Normally, I don't want to see deja vu in my opening hand because it basically takes up one hand space. But with two injects, I can be almost certain that I can find something good to deja vu once I've played all my injects. So my first inject mills an Imp and a David into my heap, along with another Shahrazad, which is not important. So nothing much worth deja vuing just yet. Maybe the Imp. Imp is very crucial against Blue Sun if I want to deny him his Sea Scorched or whatever janky combo cards he's running. Wayland always runs combo cards. My second inject was huge. It fetched me an Imp Parasite Cache, three of the best programs I can ask for. So I immediately deja vu the Imp and a cache and install the Imp and make a last turn run on R&D. This is very dangerous. If that was a snare, I could have instantly flatlined there. I had to take my chances because I did review that I fetched an Imp with the deja vu, and it won't be long before he seals up R&D, and sure enough he does. The very wise thing to do. Next, I install ESOP's pawn shop because I'm preparing to. I need to prepare myself to install cash at any time. Alright, so he goes on by installing another card in a remote server. I'm trying not to install my cache until I find my Grimoire. So at least I managed to get my wildside thanks to the triple inject that has really accelerated my card draw, and as such I'm able to gather almost every single combo piece I need. Not saying combo piece, but every single piece I need to play effectively. Meanwhile, I attempt to place pressure on his servers by running his R&D archives and R&D. By forcing him to rest the Hadrian's Wall, he only had 4 credits left, so I thought it was okay to run R&D, but he showed me the data pike, which sapped 2 credits from me. Unfortunately, this means that I cannot access archives and I cannot access R&D. I wanted to access R&D to mill cards with Imp. He hasn't drawn too many cards yet. He isn't even 40% of his way through his deck, so I doubt he's holding doubles Scorched Earth and a Seesaws at this point. Meanwhile, I continue placing pressure on all his servers, hopefully getting him to rest some big ice, but that's not happening. He shows me 3 cheap and the run ice, so I'm forced to continue playing passively. And because this is Blue Sun, he's able to bounce off his ice easily into his hand and install new fresh ice which I might not be prepared to deal with. As such, Auto-Scripter is a very dangerous card to play. I can't afford to do so because it is too easy for me to get hit by End the Run and lose my Auto-Scripter. I draw into a double Cyber Feeder with my wildside. Goodness gracious me. Well, nothing much to say about that. I install both of them, and with my final click, I take a credit because I'm short of credits now. So far, I've only seen 1 cache, and no Grimoire at that. So my economy is very slow. I don't think I've drawn a sure gamble either. I finally find my Grimoire, but now I need to deal with my 5-card hand size. I want all of these cards in my hand. They are also good. So I decided to pitch the Auto-Scripter. I decided that it wasn't worth it this game. As I said, against Blue Sun, it's almost impossible to avoid unsuccessful runs, because a single toll booth or a curtain wall can easily knock me back and knock the Auto-Scripter off my rig. Can't do anything much about that. So he continues getting rich, but I actually feel pretty safe because I've seen both of my Plascretes. So all I need to do now is to get enough credits to install them both. Sadly, Cyber Feeder won't help with that, so I need to take credits manually. Nope, I decide to install Crypsis to make use of my Cyber Feeder credits and take 2 credits after that. Hopefully the Crypsis on the board will threaten him to waste time purging virus counters, or basic or icing up more so that he won't score any agendas. Alright, in the meantime, he finds his first oversight AI and uses it to raise a curtain wall. I'm praying for a David top deck. There's one more left in my deck. I did not find it. So, what is my plan of assault? Do I even have a plan? After some thought, I installed the cache for money. The money is very important. I couldn't have drawn the cache at a better time because I have a plan. My next move, after installing the cache, is getting a Plascrete on the table because I'm about to make a successful run, and then stim hack my way into the curtain wall. Because he didn't clear virus counters, I have one virus counter on my Crypsis, so I'm able to smash through the curtain wall at the cost of a brain damage, and bingo! I hit the Scorched Earth. That was huge. That was so important. Because right after that stim hack, yes, I was down to 3 cards. So a C Scorch, C double Scorch would have ended my game. So hitting that Scorched Earth was huge. And getting rid of the curtain wall was pretty important as well because it weakened his board state. I finally find a sure gamble, and I spend my remaining click charging up Crypsis once again. I always need to maintain one virus token on Crypsis to maintain the pressure. And now that he has seen my stim hack, he cannot possibly safely score in the remote because in the back of his mind, he must be thinking, what if he has another stim hack in his hand? He wouldn't know. So yes, that is the danger when playing against anyone who has shown a stim hack. You have to assume that they have 9 credits more than you originally thought. Alright, I draw into a medium, something that I really want to take advantage of. But first, I install another data sucker. Following that, I attempt to run archives. We'll see if I can get a successful run through. I do. And I use the data sucker tokens as though they were Desperados. So that saved me 2 credits from using Crypsis. And I get the tokens back. Accessing archives, I only find a single agenda and it's just a 1-pointer. It's another poster bounty. But that's pretty good news, to be fair, because this probably means that he has no more poster bounties left in his deck. Most of such Wayland Scorch decks only run 2 poster bounties anymore, and you are really increasing your agenda to card ratio, which means that your R&D would be very porous. So in the meantime, he equalizes the agenda point count by scoring an over advanced Atlas. I finally find my David. It's a bit too late though. And now I need to grapple with my 4-card hand size by getting rid of cards from my hand. That's a problem because Wildside has drawn me so many cards and I don't have enough credits to install them all. So, well, I bump into a data pike while attempting to run R&D. Once again, I want to mill any important cards off the top of his R&D. I would have liked to run with a medium instead, but I just don't have enough credits to pay for the medium, so I'm just content with a single access. I find an Adonis campaign. I could trash it, I choose not to. At this point, he's pretty rich, and there's no point in me denying his economy. Right now, my only goal is to get enough credits so I can reliably run every turn. Then I can access agendas until I win the game. Alright, I draw into Deja Vu and another medium. The Deja Vu is very important. This is my sure gamble, and so much more. I immediately fish out 2 caches, and I use one. At this point, I should have installed the second Cyber Feeder. That was the right move, because that's the only non-program in my deck. Instead, I installed the second cache. Because I was out of memory, I had to trash the first cache, which meant that I wouldn't get the extra 3 credits from the Salt Spawn Shop. A misplay there that could cost me the game. Installing the Cyber Feeder was definitely the right choice, because firstly, it gives me more money to install more viruses, and more importantly, it offsets the cost of playing Crypsis to break ice. Alright, he gets another remote server going and protects archives, which is a very good move. I pawn off my cache, drawing into more viruses. So, I load up Crypsis and attempt to check archives. He shows me a Hunter, which I usually would rather trace through it, but he has more credits than me. I cannot let myself get tagged, so, well, suck it up. I'll pay credits to get through it. Cyber Feeder and Data Sucker really help to alleviate the cost of playing that. I discard Parasite finally. Parasite is not very good against Blue Sun. I was hoping to use Parasite as to instantly deal with ice in conjunction with Data Sucker, but there just isn't enough opportunity for that because all his eyes tend to be unrest. Alright, so I managed to fetch an Eden Fragment to bring myself to match point. In the meantime, he uses Atlas to fish out a Shattered Remains and double advances it in the new remote. Ooh. Is it a bluff? I cannot afford to face check that, because if I lose my Plascretes, I lose the game. If I lose my Grimoire, I'm forced to trash my programs, I lose the game. I cannot afford to check that. So my only route right now is to run his central servers, and thankfully he is nowhere near victory yet, so I can afford to let him get away with scoring a 5-3. So I'm just going to place pressure right now by running with medium. And looking at the very porous data sucker there, I'm more than happy letting him scoring this H fragment. But I need to act quickly because he's 2 points away from victory. I need to seal the game next turn as soon as I can. I'm down to 3 cards in my stack. None of them are probably useful. I've drawn everything that I needed to draw. I have multi-access. I have both breakers, the high-end breaker David and the low-end breaker Tripsys. I have data suckers to power my Tripsys and an imp to disrupt his deck. So I run through R&D. Hopefully this will end the game. Adonis, Atlas, that closes the game. So as you can see, this is the power of noise. Multi-server pressure is so hard to keep up with. Arguably, he misplayed it quite a bit. He was agenda flooded early on, which explained why he put ICE over HQ instead of R&D. He wasn't aggressive enough early on in scoring agendas. There was no way I could contest his agenda scoring early on if he chose to do so, simply because I just didn't have enough credits to get my Tripsys online, let alone break any ICE that he would throw at me. By the time he got his oversight AI, I was already more or less well set up and protected myself from his alternate victory conditions. So after a certain point, there was just no way he was going to win because I had all the tools I needed to deal with him and attack him from any server that he was weakest in. You really don't want to go late game against noise, and this is a very good example of why you shouldn't. To elaborate on my deck a bit more, compared to my first iteration, I swapped out a single copy of Wildside for a second copy of Scheherazade. I think this is a good choice. It does decrease my consistency because the chances of me drawing that crucial Wildside is fairly low. If both Wildsides happen to be camping in the bottom 15 cards of my deck, I will never see the Wildside. But I think I can live with that because this deck does rely a lot on drawing. If I spend clicks drawing up, it's basically losing a click every single time I draw 2 cards as compared to if I have Wildside. But the benefit is I will be more flexible because I have 4 clicks to play around with. More importantly, I have 3 injects which should help me power through my deck and allow me to hit the Wildsides. At the end of the day, Wildside is useless in duplicates, so I think slashing down to 2 might help my deck in terms of freeing up deck space for more important cards. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Happy net running. Goodbye.